continent of saga, of Thal Drazark, from Thal Drazark to the future past. The last Grimoire of Larkon Vrayth. Sithra Sillion with her dark feathered starling Ilith. On her shoulder was standing on the path to Illmist, along the Sorrowshore Coast from the north, from Orchard Cove where she had come from abroad. On the ship the Sithra, captained by Ragnar Black, the Ilvasian sailor from Thal, the king of Ilvar seated in Gorintor's main. Fortress Castle Gorintor had personally blessed the same Ragnar who had purportedly slain Valdramar, the lord of Castle Ilmrain, where Ilmhamond Bane, the mad deranged, strange paladin of Ed's shadow star who'd been blamed for the infliction of brains throughout the emerald reach of madness, dread, despair, bitterness, misery, and grief that was deep, which had really been caused by natural grim grin, the strife lord of Talos Hill, whom gaunt gravel-born slew far in the past, clearing Ilmhamond Bane of the accusations at last. But Ilm had been mad, had been dark-minded and lost in the ever-dark mentally, where he had sought a way to break with the thoughts of dread and doom and despair, and the ghosts who haunted him mentally both awakened in fearful nightmares, who had inherited the spear of Saralik Rent, who had slain the dragon Arath and cleared Arath's horned of monsters, which became Saralik's wail, where Castle Rent, now Ilmrain Keep, would be raised. Ilmhamond Bane, the slayer of Hamond Lorraine, the black-clad baron of Saralik's Vale, who'd maintained a reign of terror, a tyranny over the Saralik's Vales, inhabitants which had caused Ilmrain to raise up a small brave army and lay siege to Castle Rent with the aim of liberating the Vale, whereupon Ilmrain had slain Hamond Lorraine and taken over reign of the Vale, as was his birthright, the son of the slain, former rightful ruler of the Vale, Amaleth Rent. But Ilmhamond Bane had left on a quest to descend into the rift of the Rent in the Emerald Peaks, by the Ebon Gate Pass to the cold vast east, to search for the deep dragon Illmist Bay, who had been asleep for ages when weeks had passed without the return of Lord Ilm. Valdramar, the worst villain in the whole realm of Talazar, worse than Nazarel of Talos Hill, who wore the helm of the Slayer Grim, who had killed the last Dracolord of the Sill in the northern expanse of the Darkened East before he had conquered the land of Srilmasar, the cold vast which became named after him henceforth Grimshire, land of the pain. Elves who rebelled with the help of Grim against the cold dragon claw, who had ruled over the elves of the cold vast as a most cruel and malevolent leader. Vayne had obtained the helm of Grim and his red cleaver, and taken over Castle Ilrain, formerly Castle Rin, and started ruling the Vale's folk in a most callous and grim way, without Emperor the Emerald King of Telazar being able to really do a damn thing about it, as he was caught up in a war with his Sill against Lord Ivaril, the shrill streaker of Immerith Hill, the capital of the Sill, the chill land in the northeast of Thal Drazark, beyond the Emerald Peaks of the Emerald Reach. But Vayne had met as the thief against Ragnar Blackwood, slain in a thief, most heroic and brave, before it become the captain of the Sithra, often quite drunk on rum, and telling tales of his adventurous past to his cruel sailors and the passengers such as had happened on Sithra Sillion's voice from afar, from Port Arkath and Mask's Reach in the dark in the east of the Maya coast. Sithra was seen way to satiate the great eldritch beast, and they big fiend Phareek, whom she paid a steep price for making a pact when she was a mere chief, but a grim freak to give her powers of deadly magic. She got used to defeat the creep who'd taken her in her sleep to Valdramar in the east, not far beneath Maggle Keep. Bleed, ill-spelled speaker of the grim Talon Peak, who knew Sithra Sillion was a rather unique child, as the last living heir to Valdramar's reach, the long-fallen realm between Mantle Keep and the red marches to the south beyond the peaks of mist and mystique, also known as the haunted mountains of Saunthus, which were full of all sorts of monsters and bleaks. Keep on grim Talon Peak, she'd been forced to learn the ways that ill-spelled speaker would teach her, but when she reached the age of 12, she had made a pact with the fiend Phareek, the eldritch beast, who now had her travel across the Shimmerdeep sea to West Valdramar, which she had embarked on with her starling and sharp magical scimitar she'd taken from the spell-mangled corpse of bleak, ill-spelled speaker who had kidnapped and taught her the ways of magic. Now she stood a bit north of Illmist Bay on the so-called Sorrowshore Coast, where she was traveling to seek out the Lord of Illmist, the one who ruled from the great fortress Illmist Keep, the one called the Sword, and Aslan, who had taken over after Ogren Tom had slain the previous Lord of Illmist, the one called Wraith Alaman, Sithra Sillion Sword, Lord of the Sword, as she thought he could help her reach Fort Menarak deep in the Shadow Dale, where she managed to meet up with another servant of Phareek, the Dark Beast, the half-fiend mage's thief named Sali. Rastige would teach her the deeper arcana she needed to really wield the ever-dark mana, as Phareek wanted her to on her path to become his champion in the Evervast where she was from. There was none alive still who could teach her the ways of the dark arcana without making her a dark mage slave to their own agenda, such as the ghoul twins who ruled Zuthul from the wizarding school of withered leaf, or the masked mystique masters. And she also needed to be in West Valdramar as the Evervast truly was about to commence. And Phareek wanted her to join in the carnage, avenge his death as a mortal creature before he became the fiendish beast in the Everdark, which he now was, the evil and strange Phareek Samar, back when he had been a plain, half-human, half-fey dark mage of the way of the dark arcana of the Archon and archmage Larkon Vrayth, who had faced off against Luthric and lived. Solid prestige was the very last rule of his, the rule for Fort Menarak held a portal within to the blue abyss, the one where the twins, as it moves Azure and Zelune dwell, a very different and strange eldritch form of hell, a secret place to most mortals, but beneath the key which she had brought from overseas in the east, the portal key of the blick cleave, ill-spelled speaker, the former teacher who had tried to mislead her into becoming a priestess of the Twisted Moon Sisters, who ruled the blue abyss since they slew old Mephistus in the blue abyss in the tower of Grimshade Arkath. Her and Sally went sneaking and steal the very last Grimoire of the Dark Archmage and Larkon Vrayth. That was the true aim of the journey west she had embarked on. Never-ending doom on the acid moons. Never-ending doom on the acid moons.